What's good, y'all? Hope everybody's been well and staying blessed. It's your boy, Marcus B. And as you can see, it's another solo dolo. Still working on getting the studio set up. If you're anything like me, this year has been off to a very hectic start. So having any downtime to get this set up hasn't been there. So we're actually spending this weekend to go shopping and getting things kind of set up. So it's coming soon. We set a goal of having the studio set up so the boys will be back by episode 100. So when we hit that landmark on the episodes, we'll be in the new space completely. So I can't wait for that. I'm very excited for when that happens. Anyways, just few other quick housekeeping stuff. Reminder that if you need anything, nutrition, apparel, vitamins, supplements, anything like that, go to Redcon One. Right, got the swagger right there. Right, Redcon1.com. Use promo code T20MarcusB, and you will get 20% off your entire order. Like I said before, they got mad deals as it is. But if there's nothing going on at that point in time, you get the 20% guaranteed. If you're using another deal, still put the promo code in. You'll get the whatever deal is going on, and then you help support the podcast. So I appreciate you guys there. As always, if you like what we're doing out here, make sure you like, follow, share, and subscribe. Liking is the most important part, man. So if you can help us out by liking, we're still on our way. I don't know. I haven't checked the numbers. We're at 198 last time I typed, so we're this close, 2 people away from getting 200 subscribers. So if you could help us out any which way, me and the team would greatly appreciate it. So last time we talked, I put out that video of me asking y'all what you wanted to talk about. And I had a couple people hit me up, and it was a couple of my former students that are off in college now, and they had a couple live questions, man. So I've got my journal to kind of keep me on track with that. Before we get into that though, kind of want to just a little update for those that are keeping tabs. I don't know what's wrong with my dryer, but I found out that if I just don't, I still don't know what's going on with it, but the problem isn't there anymore. So fingers crossed that we keep it that way. Cause your boy really doesn't want to afford, I can, but I really don't want to spend money on a new washer. Other than that, on the teaching side of things, we've got our first contest coming up, y'all. So shout out to all the percussionists in the area. I know that you guys are probably stressing just as much as I am. Not necessarily stressing, but just, in those New Year jitters, because we haven't done this in 2 years, right? And I apologize for the glare on my glasses. I'm trying to, again, we're working on the lighting in here, folks. But Dripping Springs is September 18th. It's a week and a half from now. I'm recording this on the 7th. And I'm both excited for it and nervous, as most of you probably are. It's a big competition. For those that are unfamiliar with what it is, it's a strictly drumline contest, whichever one you prefer, to where it's just the front ensemble and the battery performing. So it's a standstill event. It's awesome. It's one of my favorite contests to go to because the way they have it set up is just very clear cut, man. You go from the small schools that are just kind of getting the program started into the large schools that are well established. So I always make it a full day event for my kids, so that way we're not in the intermediate small, we're in the intermediate large. So there's intermediate small, intermediate large, and then advanced small, advanced large. So with the second grouping of schools to go. So we got, you know, a bunch of these big hitters to check out. So it exposes a lot of my kids to seeing what is possible in the percussion world and what is going on around them, right? So shout out to all the homies that are doing that. I think I saw um, my boy Evan over there at Bastrop. Um, I know Eastview's going. Who else is going? Shout out to the homies at I think Vista Ridge, like all those big hitters in Austin. I can't wait to see you guys. Vandegrift, Dripping Springs, the home team. So I'm very excited for it. Definitely a bit nervous, but I am excited for it. Okay. For those in the rap game and the hip hop game, I'm gonna kind of go on this at a later date. But you're lying to yourself if you're saying the production of Certified Lover Boy is better than the production of Donda. Straight lying to yourself. Based off me as a musician, bars are mad important. They are. But as a musician, I like my albums to be an experience. And every time I listen to Kanye, it's an experience. I'm feeling something. I don't know what emotions this might be, but I'm feeling something. And the issue with Certified Lover Boy is I couldn't tell when the next song started because of how similar his flow is and how similar the song structures are. So that was my 2 basic cents on it. I think Kanye definitely got him. But if you're like, yo, but look at the numbers. Well established that Drake's fan base is a female audience, right? They were ready for that album. They were hyped for it. A lot of us on the Kanye side of things were a little hesitant, a little uncertain. The numbers I'm looking at is sure, it was something like 92 million on day one for Donda, and then 110 million on day two, something like that. And then for CBL, it was 150 mil on the first day. Crazy numbers of streams. But on day two, it was like 86 or something like that. So what that tells me is that after listening to Donda, people told other people to check it out. And after people listened to Certified Lover Boy, the first time they were like, it's okay. Again, I'm gonna listen to these albums a bunch of times. That's just how I do it. I think I listened to both of them 3 times by now. But to me, I didn't get any of those hitters on Certified Lover Boy that I was looking for, that I was hoping for to come through with Drake. And I definitely got those hitters, those big moments from Donda. That being said, there's also a few throwaway songs on Donda, but that's what's gonna happen when you have 27 tracks on an album. Bound to happen. No matter how good of an artist you are, you probably aren't gonna hit it nail on the head for all 27 tracks. So there's my bit. There's my thoughts. If you disagree with me, by all means, let me know. Hit me up in the comments. Hit me up in the DMs. Let me know what your thoughts are. I would love to hear your argument against for Certified Lover Boy, what have you. Okay, so let's get into these questions. So like I said, the people that hit me up were some former students, man. And, I'm not going to throw anybody's name out specifically, but as they were asking the questions, I was doing my best to kind of think back to where I was when I was like where I was emotionally when I was 18. Just getting into college, just getting out of high school, graduating, starting my life in that next chapter. Now I have an advantage here because a lot of these kids, especially where I'm at, this is the only place they've ever lived. You know, they were born here, they grew up here, they graduated from here. So they spent 18 years all in the exact same place. My advantage is um, the fact that I've lived in multiple spots throughout my life. Well documented 5 states, 8 cities, until San Marcos, until I got to college. I never lived anywhere longer than 4 years. So my body was kind of already predisposed to the idea of leaving and moving on to the next spot after 4 years. So I got to San Antonio, went to high school, got there before ninth grade. So when I'm graduating, I was somewhat emotionally ready to move on. It's not the case for everybody. I understand that. And that's the issue that a lot of these kids are facing is just that new change. So I can't talk too much on that and what you're going through on that side of things. I do understand that it's difficult. And what I would say to that is what you should do is try to get as many familiarities from your previous life into your current life. Band is one of the best communities out there. It's always inviting, it's always a good time. So I encourage a lot of my kids to go and join the band, man, right? You just spent probably at least, excuse me, somewhere around 7 years of your life doing this activity. And sure, maybe it wasn't your favorite thing, but you did it for that entire time. Like that's a part of your life. You know what those people are going to be like. You've been with them for 7 years. And if maybe you didn't realize it, but while you were in band, that was the thing that kind of grounded you. That was the thing that you look forward to. That was the thing that kept you relieved from your day-to-day anxiety. And you might not have known that, man. That's a high possibility that you didn't know that was the facts. That was its role in your life. Was until you give it up. And now you're not doing band, you're not doing anything musical, you're not doing anything that is expressing that side of you. And now you're just distraught with anxiety and stress, and you don't have any outlets to go through that, right? Again, I'm fortunate to have multiple facets to deal with that anxiety and stress. But I'm just saying, if there's something that you've done for a good chunk of your life, maybe you should wean off of it, right? Don't just cold turkey it. Plus, college marching band is so much different than high school marching band. College marching band, it's just a bunch of really talented people, really good players, really good marchers that are having fun out there. And you just get to, like blow your face off for the most part in the best way possible. So that's the first thing I would kind of want to touch on is try to keep your life, try to find those pillars of your life that you can continue as you go into the future. Maybe it's a different club. If you're like me, working out is a big deal for you, right? So being familiar with the rec center, setting up things like that. Again, going to Texas State, you had the beautiful joy of going to the river to kind of relax from that sense. I'm kind of going all over the place, but try to set your life up to as similar as you can as you start this new chapter. I understand that I'm coming in a little bit late. School started 3 weeks ago. Again, I apologize. I thought about doing this previously. Couldn't think of the questions, but here we are. We out here trying to help you as best as we can with what we've got. So, just gonna go into this life advice as a college kid. Let's start with this. Gap years. And I'm gonna be fully honest with what my opinions were that I remember when I was in your shoes as a fresh 18-year-old going to college, and where I'm at right now. When I was 18, I thought the gap year was the goofiest thing ever. Because I thought of it as a trap. Because it's the first time that you're not going to school. And then therefore you get to work full time. And then you're gonna get used to that full-time money. That's the most money I've ever had in my life. Why do I give this up? You get used to the immediate instead of looking for the future. This was my thought process on gap years. I'm like, nah, bro, you just gotta dive into it and figure and just figure it out as you go. And then the other side of the gap year thing was, I'm gonna, the trope of I'm gonna go backpacking through Europe and then find myself and then go to university. Obviously, not everybody got the money to do that. So that's why I kind of clown on it. But like now that I'm 28, dude, that sounds great. I had no idea who I was when I was 18. I didn't know what I was doing. I still barely know what I'm doing. And we're 10 years later, like, if you have the ability to take a year off, take the year off, bro. Figure out what you want to do. I had so many homies go to college and they just waste so much time trying to figure out what to do, but instead of just like not attending school, they were just so caught up in this idea of gotta go to college. If I don't go to college, I'm gonna be a loser. If I just don't want to be a loser, so I gotta go to college, even though I don't know what I'm doing or I don't know what I want to do. That's not how you should do it, man. I have a buddy. I'm not calling him out by name, but one of the sweetest dudes I ever met. I met him at Texas State marching band. He was the bottom bass at the time. Absolute sweetheart. Came from a small school, thought about doing the music thing. The music thing didn't work out, was trying to figure out some majors. He ended up spending, I think, 3 or 4 years at Texas State. Didn't get a degree. Ends up becoming a firefighter. Now he is so happy with what he's doing. So then, it's like, did he lose anything from going to college? Not necessarily, right? He wouldn't have met the people that he met otherwise. He wouldn't have gone through the life things and all those things, right? All the advantages of being at Texas State. But you don't need to go to college to go be a firefighter, right? You just need to go to firefighter school. It's not a bad thing. We got this big career technology education curriculum at my high school. We have the ability to set up so many people and things that don't go to college. I know we got an EMT program. We've got a pharmacy program. You can get your welding's license, I believe. Or you can get your I know we have an automotive shop. Like, we have all these hard skills, education things built in. So I don't think our school is, quote unquote, looked down upon like trade school work, But I know that that is the case for a lot of other schools. Again, I was that guy, man. I was like, yo, no, I got to go to college. But that was my ego, if you will, of saying that's what I'm supposed to do, right? Because I did the lawn care thing, I did the construction thing, I was building houses at the time, right? I was working for my boy, and we were private contractors, and we were helping people flip houses, help people making renovations to their houses. I was like, as good of money this is, I can't fall into that lane. It's too easy for me to fall in that lane. And I'm not talking bad at anybody that does it. It's a great spot to be. But that's not what I wanted for my life, right? Going to university was a big deal for me. Um, so you should figure out what you want that makes you happy. So if you need to take some time off to figure out what makes you happy, take some time off, dog. It's okay. You're only 18. I know it feels awful in the time, but again, I'm fortunate because I for the for the argument's sake, I basically took a year and a half off, right? I'm a smart kid. I know how to do English classes. That's all I did my first year. I did my basic English, my basic communication. I got all those what's that called? The basic credits out the way, right? I don't need to do anything like that. I don't need to really study for that stuff. I passed them, had my 2.9, 3.1 GPA, depending on the semester, right? I was never fantastic because I was busy doing other things. But I doing those classes wasn't work for me. So therefore, emotionally, I kind of took the year off. Right? I kind of took some time to figure out what I wanted to do, figure out who I was trying to be, where I was trying to go. Only reason I was able to do that is because I had a full ride. Talked about it before. Very fortunate to have that. But again, like I've talked previously, set yourself up um, for what you want to do in the future right now. Right? And I'll say it again. I ended up using the full ride from my dad being in the military, but I got a full ride to UTRGV anyway, so I was covered regardless. So, first thing, gap years, not that bad. And then I got in this conversation with the boy Connor Towns. Shout out to the homie. And in basic, it's the conversation of passion versus lifestyle, right? The question that one of my kids asked me was choose a good major and how to keep that major. And then I posed that question to Connor, and this is what he came back to me. And it boils down to the passion versus lifestyle. He says, looking back now, what you should do is think about how you want to live your life in the future. Right? Again, this is just follow me here. What type of life do you want to have? Do you want to have a family early? Do you want to travel for a long time? Do you want a job that ties you, keeps you close to home because you're super tight with your family? The financial freedom, right? Are you somebody that wants to make 7 figures, or are you comfortable with making, 60K a year? This is what he's talking about with the lifestyle thing. Like, figure those things out and then look back to what those majors could allow you to do, right? Computer science degrees, big, hot, booming booming market right now, computer programmers. Shout out to my boy Dway, the homie. Prayers up to him. He's interviewing for a big gig. So shout out to him. I'm not gonna disclose any money things, but the boy ain't gonna be struggling. I promise you that. But with that, with the computer science, computer programming, you can work from home. That turns out, right? So, are you somebody that is comfortable with working from home? Do you want to work from home? If you're working from home, are you able to work anywhere in the world? If that's the case, then hell yeah. Why would you not do that degree? But it's not all about the bag. I've talked about this before. And that's where the passion versus lifestyle comes in. You got to figure out what you want out of your life and then go from there. This is what Connor was talking about. I agree with him. This thing keeps moving. Stay. So think about that question of how do you want your life to be set up eventually, and then pick a major accordingly, right? And he brought up the example of like an accounting major. As somebody who picked his major based on passion, based on love of music, based on the love of teaching, the idea of getting an accounting major just sounded so boring. And some people are just super passionate about numbers, and shout out to you, thank God, right? I'm eventually need an accountant. I'm eventually need a tax person to help your boy out, so that way I can take care of things. So I need you in my life. Again, I'm not bashing anything here, just talking about what my opinion is on it. But I thought that was mad boring. Like, you just want to sit behind a computer and crunch numbers all day? Me being ignorant to not knowing what an accounting degree is, or a communications degree, or anything, those broad degrees, they didn't make sense to me when I was in college. But now that I'm out in the world, it's like, oh, you don't want to be bogged and shoehorned into a specific thing. You want to set yourself up for some freedom in the market because you're not entirely sure where you want to be at in 5 years. And when you think about that, you're just like, damn, that makes a lot of sense, man. A business degree could do any which job, any such job. Anywhere from 60 grand to 250 grand and upwards from there. From a GM from a local spot to hedge funds, anything like that. Those degrees make sense depending on the lifestyle that you want to set up for yourself. If you want your weekends off, if you want your nights off, if you want to spend time with your family, if you want to have if you want to have a family, period, you should probably get a job that allows you to spend time with them, gives you weekends off, gives you early evenings, so that way you can go soccer practice and blah, 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 right? There's a reason why high school marching band is a young man's game. It's because it takes up so much of your time. You don't have time to have kids. You don't have time to, and if you do, again, it's just speaking emotionally. If you do have time, if you do have kids and you're a high school director, shout out to you, man, because you're probably better than I am at everything because your time management has to be so A1, so that way you're there for your kids' soccer practice and you're there for the sectionals for your saxophone section. But I'm just talking from personal experience, just talking percussion director things. I don't know too many high school percussion directors that have kids. It's just fact of the matter. It's also one of the highest burnout rates in all of teaching, as far as I know. Because you're so busy with the job, you don't have time for other things. And those that are figuring it out, shout out to you. Proud of you for making it work, because that shit ain't easy. I know it isn't. So I say you need to choose what makes you happy, whatever that may be. Again, I'm fortunate enough to know what my passion was, and then I was able to pursue a degree in that. If your passion is traveling, find a major that sets you up to travel. Whether that's giving you enough money so you can travel on your own, or the job itself is traveling. There's your business degrees. There's your foreign, what's that degree called? Not foreign policy. Can't remember. Or it's just an education degree, and maybe, you go to Japan and teach English. Right? I would love to go to Japan. That's still on my bucket list. That might be what I do after I'm done teaching at my high school right now. I don't know. But think about what you want to do with your life. What's going to make you happy? Whatever that is, that's where you start. Don't think about the bag. The bag will come eventually. You could always make more money. You can't always make more happiness. Next thing was what connections to make it. Which ones are important and how to keep them. Again, I come from a very fortunate background. I was just with my pops this weekend. And this is his talent. He can make friends with anybody. I have that talent. I can make friends with anybody. I meet people, and then 3 hours later, we're still talking. Like, that's just a skill that I have, and I know that's not the case for everybody. So as far as connections go, think about, again, what do you want to do? And I keep track of people on different levels, right? When I met my boy Ray, the dude that did the logo for us, shout out to the homie. Gonna have him on the podcast soon. Didn't forget about you, dog. I met him through Texas State Marching Band. Again, he ends up being an art major, just a contracting artist on contract, excuse me, artist for hire, what have you. I was like, I don't, and this is just straight business mind, right? I keep him around because he's a good dude, great guy, love having conversation with him. But on the business side of things, I was like, he's not gonna be in the education thing, so I can't use him for that side of things. But he's a dope artist. Eventually, I'm gonna need something designed, so let me keep him in my Rolodex of people that are like important to me. I got him. I got my boy Anthony, who's a programmer. My boy Jay, who's a programmer. Jay's the one that set up my website, right? When I met Chris as a kid, he knew that one of the first things I found out was that he was into photography. I was like, I'm gonna need somebody like that eventually. I don't know what for, but I'm gonna need it for eventually. And here we are. He's my camera guy for the podcast. He's the one that edits all our videos. That's not something that I am super passionate about and know a whole lot about. So let me just be friends and be tight with a dude that is. Why would I not keep that connection? If you're a good person, you're going to make friends with people. And if you are a good person, you're going to keep good relationships with people. And they can use you and you can use them. And being used isn't a bad thing. It has a bad context on it. But it's like in the gig world, man. Speak on the musician side of things. The first person to get me a gig, playing wise, I'll say playing and then we'll go to teaching. Playing wise, my boy Louis Pereira. Shout out to the homie. I got outside gigs with him because good buddies with him. I told him that I was really into the Latin music thing. He was a jazz drummer at the time, and one of their tunes called for it was a Latin tune, and then they needed another musician. Louis hits me up. Here's my other rule: I never say no to a gig, even if I don't really know it. I'm gonna figure it out so that way I can get called for it again. Take that last piece of advice with a grain of salt. Obviously, I'm never going to commit to a programming gig. That's not how it works. But like within your wheelhouse, right? I know how to play congas. I've never played with a jazz band, but I know how to play congas and I know how charts work. I'll be able to figure this out. Not a big deal. He pulls me in. I play with him. It's great. That's like our third year. He hits me up for that. I do one concert. No big deal. I move on with my life. Next semester, he hits me up again. Bingo, bango. Do the concert. It's great. I start making connections with some of the directors, some of the other players, getting my name out as like, hey, that's the hand drum guy. I might hit him up later if the gig calls for it. And then that summer, Louis gets a brass band gig. The dude that's running the brass band's like, yo, I want an accessory percussionist. I've already played with Louis for a year and a half by this point. Who else is Louis gonna call? He knows that I know how to follow. He knows that I'm good for the gig. I'm always gonna show up on time. Of course he's gonna recommend me. He recommends me for the gig. Bingo, bango. I play with that band for an entire year. Teaching gig side of things. And then from there, I get all sorts of gigs. We pull in, I pull in the bass player. The bass player pulls me in for other gigs, in other brass bands. I get hit up for a bunch of recitals to play backbeats, on a cajon or on a drum set. I just become that accessory guy because I said yes to Louis that one time for that jazz gig, and then I set myself up to be able to play all these gigs. I got mad church gigs off of that stuff too. Like, you don't turn down a gig if you're physically capable of doing it. Whether or not you know it right now is up to you. You can figure some stuff out, but you can't figure it out if you don't say yes. And then on the teaching side of things, shout out to the homie Jordan Garza. He's down there at McNeil. I think he's at Dripping Springs. Hope it goes well for you, dog. He is the front ensemble tech my sophomore year at Texas State. I'm in the front ensemble this year trying to get that side of things because I'd only done 1 year in high school. We're doing the percussion camp. We get to chatting. Again, I'm just making friends with people. I'm chopping up with anybody. He's like, yo, what are you doing next week? And I'm like, nah, man, going back home, San Antonio. He's like, oh, word, I teach in San Antonio. My normal percussion tech is out next week. What's the chances you're free to come through and teach for me? Mind you, I'm a sophomore at this point in time. I never taught before. I have 1 year of Texas State marching band on my belt and then 1 year of indoor percussion under my belt. Not that big of credentials, 0 teaching credentials, but the dude liked me. He trusted me. He's like, pull up. You seem like you know what you're doing. Cool. I'm thinking that when I pull up, I'm just going to be a sideline tech. He's going to be running rehearsals. I'm going to be going through and one-on-one to the kids like, hey, you're missing that entrance. It's on the Tay at 3, not the downbeat at 3. And then scurry back behind him. Come to find out, I pull up to his school. I go meet him. He's like, here is the battery packet, the warm packet. Here is the show score. Drum line's already outside. They already know the entire warm-up packet. You just got to kind of go through it. And then get into the show beats. Lunch is at noon. And I was like, oh no, I have never done this before. But I know how music works. I know how to run the Met. And I know the general, like if you gave me the warm-up packet, just go through the packet. I'll learn how to read the score as I go. Here we are, 9 years later after that. Sorry, doing some quick math. And I've taught every season except for 2 over those 9 years. Seasons being the fall season and the indoor season. 2 seasons I've not taught during that time. All because I said yes to them. So the connections that are important are every connection, man. Everybody I meet, I try to keep in my life to some capacity. Sometimes that's way over there. You're good over there, big dog. I don't need you that close to my life. And sometimes the connections are like Simmons and Chris, man, where you're like, you're right there with me. I don't like burning any bridges with anybody, but that's on me. Sometimes you got to kick some people out your life. That is a fact. But as far as what connections to make, again, think back to that lifestyle. Think about what you want to set up. If you're going to be a musician, you need to be tight with other musicians. You need to not be a garbage person around the other musicians that you're playing with, so that way they hire you for other gigs, especially if you're a performance major. You're not going to be able to perform if nobody wants to work with you. So if you're just rude, hard to do work with, late to rehearsals, don't show up to rehearsals, don't show up to gigs prepared, you're not going to get hired again. It's a close-knit community, bro. People know who people are. And when you play a gig, you probably play with somebody that's playing with this other guy. And he's going to hit up that guy. It's like, hey, how's this kid? You need to leave a good taste in people's mouths so that way they give you a good review. It goes back to my overarching thing. Just be a good person, bro. It's a lot harder to be... It's a lot easier to be nice to them than it is to be mean to them. Everybody's important that you meet in your life. Just keep those connections, man. Balancing social life and school life. It's probably one of the hardest ones. Mad difficult. Mad difficult for a multitude of reasons. So let's talk about school life. It's the first time you're doing school not from 8 a.m. to 4 p.m., depending on your schedule, right? Give or take, for the past 12 years of your life, you've started school somewhere around 8 a.m. and ended school somewhere around 4 p.m. Mad structured, anywhere from 4 to 8 periods a day. And then all of a sudden, you got 2 classes on Monday, and that first class don't start till 10. And then you've got an 11 o'clock after that, and then you're done for the day. What? It's crazy. Oh, then I don't have to go to that class on Tuesday. I got another set of class. So I got to show up to the 9:30 on Tuesday, and then I got a 3 o'clock lab. That's it. So first off, you got to keep a schedule. You got to keep a school schedule for yourself. You got to force yourself to spend time working on those classes, because it's going to be real easy to fall behind. Especially some of those big lecture classes where it's like, you got 4 tests, bro. That's it. Show up to the lecture, do the test. After 3 weeks, lecture, test, lecture, test, lecture, test, deuces. It's real easy to fall behind those classes, especially if they ain't got attendance policy. Bruh. Like, What are you doing for me? You're setting me up for failure. Exactly. They get paid no matter what. So why do they care if you show up to that seat or not? So first off, it's your responsibility to be there. Spend time in those classes. You have to put in the work to make sure you don't fall behind on that school life. But you gotta make friends, bro. Some of my best homies come from school. So you gotta set up that social life. Again, really easy to set up that social life in the marching band because you did band camp with them. So more than likely you spent some time with them for that week and a half, give or take. More than likely you're gonna live with a kid in the dorm that's in band as well. So then they become your friends. Y'all go to rehearsal together. You come back from rehearsal. Maybe somebody in the neighboring dorm. There's like 3, 4 kids in the neighboring dorm. Is like, hey yo, after rehearsal, you guys want to go hit up the food court? Boom, set up your social life like that, right? But again, you just have to figure out what that balance is. You're there. You're paying money to go to school. So which one probably comes first? It's the school life, man. Take care of your business. You're there to learn things. You're there to get your job done. You're there to work. Make sure you're working. But this is also the most formative time of your life, man. More than likely, the homie that you meet in college is going to be your best man, maid of honor in your wedding. You got to keep those people tight. You got to make good friends. You got to be willing to meet people. So if you're not in a structured sport, go do that. What are those sports called? God bless. That's why I need Evan here. He's also on that. Intramural sports. Go sign up for some intramural sports, right? If you were an all-star football player, but then you just kind of gave it up, you're like, man, football's not for me anymore. Go do flag football, man. It's still fun. If you're a basketball player, go do the intramural basketball. Volleyball was a big thing at Texas State, that beach volleyball, bro. Mad kids from the music building. There would be like 30 kids pulling up to volleyball courts, going 6-on-6. There was like mad group chats, like, yo, outpost, 8 p.m., pull up. And then like 20 kids would. And then there's there's that social time. But we would purposely schedule it or at a time we knew, A, no ensembles are going on. B, you should probably be done with stuff by then, right? If you're still working on theory homework at 8, you probably didn't manage your time well enough. So then, yeah, you don't get to come have fun with us. But you need to have that social life, bro. You need to get into clubs. There's mad clubs for everything. I don't know how you get into any of those clubs. I never did any of that stuff, right? I was too booked up with the music building stuff and that Greek life. Get into the Greek life, bro. Not all Greek life is bad. Right? There are some garbage Greek lives out there, and there's garbage people in those programs. But you know what? There's garbage people everywhere, right? So it's not just tied to the Greek life. And it's not all parties, right? There's major specific fraternities and sororities. Your boy's part of Phi Mi Alpha, so is Evan. It's a music fraternity. Then so like the other music fraternities, you got Phi Mi Alpha, Mu Phi Epsilon, SAI, TBS, KSI. And then those are just like the music ones. And then I know you got like the Latin heritage ones, your Sigma Lambda Gammas, your I can't remember any other ones off the top of my head. And then you've got your black fraternities, Alpha Kappa Alpha, all those ones. And then you've got like Mu Theta, which I think is like a math one. Right? There's like, it's a lot of them are just labeled as like a social group. So that way you know that these people are interested in the same thing that you're interested in. They're in the same major as you are. So go meet those people, man. Go make those friends. Go figure out, and that's gonna help you out more, right? Because if you're getting into a social group, a fraternity, a sorority that is in your major, those people are gonna be taking the classes, already took the class that you took. It can help you out with it. So then you're balancing that school life and that social life. There are things to help you out, bro. There are things to help you out in college to make sure that you're successful. You just gotta find them, and you gotta lean on these people, man. Ask for help. It's okay to ask for help. That's why I was so like, it felt good when these kids reached out for me and saying like, yo, I'm going through it right now. I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with my mental health. I'm struggling with keeping all these things in line. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm out here in Bryan. What the hell is in Bryan? I have no idea. College Station is nowhere. You're close to Houston. You're like an hour and a half away from Houston. Like, you're up at Notre Dame. You're over at Vanderbilt, Vandergrift, whatever it is. Vandergrift's an awesome Vanderbilt, right? You've got enough things going against you. So try to set up some things that work for you. Right? Then how do you cope with change, man? Like I said, and then that's kind of where I started with, is coping with the change. It's hard. It's mad difficult. You're on your own for the first time in your life. Maybe you're fortunate like me and you're just kind of built for that. You just kind of, you understand what being alone is, and you manage those feelings fairly easily. But maybe you're not. Maybe you were super tight with the family. You're one of those families that like had dinner every day of the week. You went to church on Sundays with your family. You went and saw grandma every Sunday after church. You went and did the potluck where all the cousins came through. You've lived in the same city your entire life, and now all of a sudden you're in a new space. Shit's hard. Nobody's gonna disagree with you there. But like I said, you gotta set up yourself up to mitigate as many differences as you can, but also accept the differences, man. It's a new chapter of your life. It's supposed to be different. I was talking to the homies just the other night about relationships, and my boy's living with his girlfriend. And you know, they're going through those differences of sharing a space with somebody. You're living in a dorm and you're sharing space with somebody for the first time in your life. You've been an only child your entire life, and now you got to share the space with some random ass kid, and his stuff is touching your stuff, and like, why are you so close to me, bro? Like, but these are things that you need to learn. You need to learn how to manage these personalities. You need to learn how to manage these egos. You need to learn how you react to things that are different in your life. It's really easy to shut down, cut up, and run. Just be like, I did it for a month. It was hard. I'm not for it. I'm gonna go back home, and I'm just trying to figure out from there. And you know, like I said, maybe that is what you need to do. Or maybe you've never experienced a lot of change in your life, and this is the first time that you're ever going through it. So embrace it. Like I've talked about here, living in a house is still weird for me, man. When I moved to Temple, and after six and a half years of living in San Marcos, it's hard for me. living on my own with no roommates. It's hard for me. But I know I needed to be here. And you're where you need to be. And it's okay to freak out. We talk about mental health out here all the time. But that's when you do those things that work your mental health. Take a page out of my book. I'm sure I've talked about my morning routine, but I'll say it again. Wake up, do the normal morning stuff, use the restroom, brush my teeth, mouthwash, all that. And then for 30, 45 minutes, I go sit on the grounds. I do some breathing exercises. I stretch. Excuse me. Stretch, do some yoga, do some meditation, do my morning affirmations, do a little bit of workout. I do a lot of things to manage and cope with the anxiety that I know I'm going to have throughout that day. But it's okay to have that anxiety. That's not going to go away. It's not going to magically go away. But you can do things to mitigate it, to relieve some of the tension. Change is good. You can't be afraid of change. You can't be afraid of new environments. You can't be afraid of something just because you're unfamiliar with it. The best things in life are probably going to come from what's going on right now. So you can either choose to accept them into your life or you can run away from them. And that goes, the theory of insanity, the definition of insanity. You keep doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You can't expect to change your life if you continue to stay in the same spot. If you want a better life for yourself, you're going to have to do better things for yourself. You're going to have to go out and get a degree. You're going to have to go out and get a certification. You're going to have to go out and get life experience. And that life experience is going to cost you something to some extent, man. For better or worse, you're going to have to deal with something. But you're going to be better for it at the end of it. At least I hope you are. So the last thing is how to not freak out. Be okay with it, man. Tell yourself that this is the new normal. This is where you're at. This is what you're dealing with. This is where I have to be. And then set your life up to where that makes sense. It's okay to freak out. It's going to happen. It's not okay to give up. It's not okay to quit. Keep trying. And if after a certain amount of time you keep trying and it's not working out, then that's okay too. But you tried, and that's what the important thing is making that effort. So I hope this was helpful. I'm probably going to talk about this more throughout the years because I feel like this is a pretty touchy subject. And since I have a plethora of kids that are starting their lives, I'm sure you guys got a lot more questions. And I'll try to think of more questions. And I'll try to think of more things to talk about as far as college goes. But I hope this answered some of those things. I hope you guys are living well. This is just a general statement to anybody. You know, your boy's the Zen master, as Durant called me the other day, as I was talking a girl down from a panic attack. I don't know a lot of things, but I'm here to help, and I'll do my best to help you out. So if you're going through anything, hit me up in the DMs, shoot me a text message, shoot me a phone call. If you've got my number, I'm more than willing to help. Y'all stay blessed. Be easy.